You're listening to Following On with me, Neil Manthorp, along with former England fast bowler Steve Harmison for the usual busy show. So England become the first ever team to hit 300 in a T20 international between two test-playing nations, that is. We'll look back at that phenomenal evening at Old Trafford and reflect on a record-breaking night for Phil Salt and for England, for that matter. Next up for England is a three-match T20 series in Ireland. We'll speak live with Ireland batter Harry Tector to see how they're shaping up for those three T20s. Meanwhile, Somerset won a record-equalling third T20 Blast title with a thrilling win over Hampshire at Finals Day at Edgbaston. We'll look back at Finals Day action and we'll look back at some of the week's other big stories. And of course, we'll finish with the final word. So plenty to come over the next hour. This is Following On. I tell you what, Harmy, when South Africa lose, they do it in style. 304 for two in 20 overs. I mean, just absolutely staggering. They just, all things in perspective, it's a shame they weren't able to overhaul Nepal's 314 for three against Mongolia, or indeed Zimbabwe's 344 against Gambia. But there was one bowler for Gambia, by the way, Musa Jobarte, whose four overs cost 93. Kesa Rabada wasn't quite that bad, four overs for 70. But no, seriously, I mean, the hitting was spectacular. Josh Buttler and Phil Salt was staggering. And it was a huge, maybe seminal moment in T20 cricket. But how bad was South Africa?
Yeah, I mean, the bowling wasn't the greatest. I think it started with the very first ball with, I think it was Marco Jansen, big wide booming half volley, so Phil Salt could get his hands free and get himself off and running. It was brilliant to watch. Do you know what, man? As the pitch makes a massive difference. I know I've been a sort of knocker of the 100, and Richard Thompson's come out and said a few things this week, but the pitch makes a difference. I listened to Joe Root talking a podcast, and he talked about the pitches in the 100. You get a flat, an absolute belter, shirt front with the balls coming onto the bat. This is entertainment business we're in T20 cricket, manners. We're in the entertainment business. The IPL have got it right. I mean, the Sunrisers are Hyderabad, and we've been in that stadium. Them orange seats. I mean, 240 is a good as a par score. This is what we want in T20 cricket, isn't it? So as bad as the bowlers were, the batters have got to entertain. And for me, when you bowl, the difference between a winning and losing a game is arguably somebody like normally a Rabada or an Archer will come on and pick up two for 35 in his four overs, and that's a difference in winning a game on a surface like this. But I think when you get a pitch like this, the exponent of power there's the shot selection and the shot execution of Josh Buttler and Phil Salt was absolutely magnificent. And sometimes as a bowler, I mean, you just put your tin hat on and think, right, can I get out with 45? Can I get out with 45? Because if I get out with 45, 220 on this surface is a chance of a game here. But I mean, 300. We did say, didn't we? Would we see it in our lifetime against two good sides rather than the Zimbabwe against Gambia? But I mean, that was wow. It really was. And for somebody like Phil Salt, who slips under the radar big time, he really does, because he's not Joss, and with the new superstar in Jacob Bethel, and what's happened before him, and the likes of Besto and Roy that came before him. Phil Salt is a superstar in T20 cricket. He's not in 50-over cricket. He wouldn't open a batting for me in 50-over cricket. I don't think he's worked that game out yet, and I still think he's got a long way to go to get to that point to play and open a batting in 50-over cricket. But in T20 cricket alone, for me, this guy is box office, and he is one of the very best in world cricket at taking the first ball and belting it for 6 or 4.
And he scored 4 out of the 800s that England batters have scored in T20 cricket. So my next question is, does that mean that Ben Duckett's now the reserve opener? Because you have to open with Buttler and Salt, surely, don't you? I mean, or does Duckett fit in at 3?
Duckett possibly could fit in at 3. I just think we've got to be careful with Ben. I think there are times where we need to rest him. I think he looked tired. I don't think he needed this white ball series leading into the Ashes. I understand why they picked him. I really do. But along with Joe Root, it is important that we keep winning with white ball to, propel the momentum for the World Tournament coming up. But I think Sultan Butler going in first is probably the right thing, and I think we're starting to get the right balance. And that Will Jackson in the middle order, Sam Curran being back in. I really do like this white ball T20 side that we've got. I think the white ball 50 over side are possibly 2 players short. I said last week we're not far away. I don't think we are far away. I think we need another third seamer, a gun seamer, an opening bowler who can bowl 10 overs, especially if our 2 all-rounders are spin bowlers. We desperately need, and I think the difference in the 50 over side is we need a batting a bowling all-rounder. And I think if we've got a seam bowling all-rounder, we've got a chance of building a half-decent side. But I think until we get that, I don't think we'll compete with the top 4 in world 50 over cricket. But in T20 cricket, I think we've got a nice balance here. I really do. I think we've got a good balance of power at the top. We've got left and right hand combinations in the middle. Our all-rounders have got good skill sets in with Archer in the team, possibly the sort of left arm of Luke Wood that shone quite well. I think we've got a very, very strong chance for me in the World T20 when it comes around in the not too distant future.
It's very hard to make a judgment on 12 balls, but let's talk a little bit about Sam Curran. So he's 300 on the board. He had a fairly simple job. He took 2 for 11 in his 2 overs. I'm more interested in what Brendan McCullum said, and we'll hear from Brendan McCullum in just a moment. But I was more interested in what he said about his chat with Sam Curran, who'd been out of the team for a year. It's the first time that he's been selected under McCullum's leadership or being coach of the white ball teams. He said, basically, you've had a lot of success very early. A lot of things have gone your way. He basically made it sound like he had a bit of a big head on him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what McCullum made it sound like. And when Sam Curran spoke before the game, when he was recalled into the team, he seemed to me to go quite out of his way to sound humble.
Yeah, I think Sam has that. Sam, yeah, he has that in him. I like him. But I think everybody knows where I sit on this show that I've been listening for the last few years. I like Sam. I don't think he's the all-rounder for the 50 over side. I really don't. I still think he probably not strong enough from the bowling department to bat in that number 7 spot. But for me, in T20 cricket, he's a must because he doesn't have to bowl these 4 overs, but he can do, and he can bowl them in different ways. He can bowl them at start. He can bowl them in the middle by taking pace off and bowling these sort of bounces from into the pitch from a left arm angle. And I think England used him quite well. They used him at number 5 and number 6 in a role that he plays well in franchise tournaments. But I think the conversation, like I said last week, when you talk about how you get him back in, you sit him down and say, Sam, this is the England cricket team. It's not the dog and duck. It's our way or the highway. And unfortunately for you, in the last year and a bit, it's been the highway because we think this is the way you've conducted yourself. Now, do you want to get on this bus? Do you want to be part of this T20 World Cup squad that's coming on the horizon? Do you want to play for England? Because if you do, it's our way. If we tell you to come back, you come back. We tell you where we want you to play. This is how we want you to play. It's not a freewheel franchise that you can, push your own case and look, not selfish because that's a wrong word, but you're looking for self-preservation. And I think because of that, I think once the positive conversation had been from both sides, he comes back in, and I think he's a massive part of this T20 squad going forward to try and win the World Cup. And England are trying to find a role that he is suited to, rather than before, where he wasn't quite suited to, and it wasn't the role that he's played and been successful to. And he looked a little bit not out of his depth, but in the wrong type of role. And I think this role with McCullum, and especially the way McCullum manages people, I think Sam Curran could be a huge player in T20 cricket for England over the course of the next 18 months.
Okay, other news. Saqib Mahmood is out of the Ireland T20s. He's also out of the tour of New Zealand next month, which, by the way, is live ball by ball on talkSPORT 2. Hampshire bowler Scott Curry has been called up. Um, was it widely known that his cab was on the rank? I didn't know it was.
Yeah, I think it was. I think Scott's quietly just come underneath the radar very, very nicely. I like this boy. I watched him play, oh, it'll be 2 years ago now, and he closed out a game. I was commentating on a game at Durham. I think he was on loan at Leicester. He was on loan at Leicester. And he finished out a game bowling at the death. And I was like, wow, who's this kid? I was like, yeah, he was still young. What is he? He might have been late teens, early 20s. And the story of him being at Hampshire. And then you looked at the Hampshire thing and you're going, well, the likes of Eddie Jack couldn't get a game. Sonny Baker wasn't going to get a game. John Turner wasn't getting a game, because of Kyle Abbott, Keith Barker, and Mohammed Abbas. So they had this whole raft of young fast bowlers that weren't getting a go. So they were getting loaned out, and he closed out a tight game at Durham by bowling Yorkers. And that's the thing that my eyes picked up, you bowling Yorkers. And I remember ringing Neil Killeen going, where are you getting him from? And he said, oh, he's Scottish. We've got him in the system. I'm trying to get him to the Supercharge, to the Manchester Originals, because obviously Neil Killeen, the bowling coach of England. And he said, Harmy, I like this boy. I think he's got great skill sets. He's got a good determination. He wants to be an England bowler. And I thought, right, I'll look out for this boy. And over the course of the last 100 and the last T20, he's done really, really well. And I think he's deserved his call up. And good luck to him. Really good luck to him. There's a great piece which he speaks about him playing for Scotland. His brother was playing for Scotland, what it meant to get into international cricket, all going about and wanting to play for England. I think it was on ESPN Cricket Info during the week, and it was all his quotes. And it was a really, really nice piece, which sounded coming from a really humble guy who wanted to play for England, but he thought the stepping stone of playing for Scotland and getting noticed was something that was going to benefit him. So fair play to him and good luck to him.
Now, as promised at the top of the show, we're joined live by Ireland batter Harry Tector ahead of England's T20 series, which is in Ireland next week. Harry, obviously some new names, some new faces. It's been the end of a very, very long season for England. But let's focus on Ireland for now, with Jacob Bethell being appointed captain of the England team and some of those new faces. Are you seeing this as an opportunity to bring England down, take them down?
It's certainly very exciting. I don't think any England team is going to be poor, so I still think the team is very strong. And just watching Jacob Bethell bat this summer, when he's had the opportunity, has been amazing. He looks a fantastic player. So I think it'll be a tough assignment for us, but much like England, we're sort of on the build up to the World Cup in February, so it'll be a good gauge to see where we're at.
Harry, how's the buzz in Ireland? You've got England to Ireland. Normally, it's the other way around. It's the first time you've met England in a T20 in Ireland. What's the buzz around the country like, and are they expecting a big crowd waiting for England when they get to the Irish shores sometime today?
Yeah, I hope so. I think all the games might be sold out now at this stage, so that's exciting. And yeah, the buzz is great. The buzz in the group's exciting. We've had a really quiet summer, so I think it's great to be back as a squad. You get so used to being together for a long period of time, and then the summer's been so quiet. So nice to have everyone together again. And yeah, there's a big buzz, and we're looking forward to it.
Obviously, plenty of established names in the Ireland team, but also some new faces. What can you tell us about Ben Callitz?
Yeah, it's the first time probably this summer that I've got to see him play properly. Big, strong left-hander, middle order. So yeah, hopefully if he gets his opportunity, he'll go well. But it's so exciting for new guys to come into to come into the squad in such a big series for them is a great opportunity if they get the chance. And yeah, I'm sure he'll hit the ground running if he gets that chance.
I'm not sure how long he's been together, Harry, but we used together when England played South Africa during the week, and when they got 300, what was the eyes around the room looking like, especially
No,
the
thank
bowlers?
God we weren't together, because that was absolute carnage. Now, in saying that, I don't think they'll be on the same wicket in Malahide as they were in Old Trafford. I think Malahide might be slightly more damp, but yeah, no, I think it was amazing. I mean, we weren't together as a group, but the texts were flying around, as I'm sure they were in every cricket group chat and texts and stuff. It was amazing to watch. I just sat back in awe of the quality of the batting, because that South African attack was was world class, and they really took them apart. So yeah, it was just brilliant to watch. I think if you remove the slight fear that comes with it, you can appreciate how good it was and how skillful it was as well.
Harry, you got just short of 2,000 runs in over 50 ODIs at an average of 46, which is an outstanding record. Um, and without sort of making this sound very obvious, what are the differences? Because England talk a lot about not playing enough 50 over cricket to almost remember how to play it. I mean, what is it that you love about 50 over cricket that makes you so successful? And how would you sum up the difference in approach as a batsman?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's definitely the format that I grew up playing. All our club cricket, all the adult cricket that I played would have been 50 over cricket, so I would have had a lot more exposure to it when I was a kid, and all the representative stuff as well was 50 over cricket. I think I just think it's a really brilliant format. And I think it probably has aspects of Test cricket at times, and then aspects of T20 cricket at other times. And probably as a batsman, being able to gauge what period of the game it is, and then trying to find solutions and trying to score runs around it, because ultimately you do have to score runs. But I think even the third ODI between South Africa and England was a great example of that, how well Jofra Archer bowled in the pressure that the South African batters had to try and absorb, and ultimately they weren't able to. But it does just show that it gives different little periods of pressure between the bat and the ball, and I think it's so brilliant. And I think the most successful batters are the ones who can adapt to those different periods in the game well, and then come home strong. If you're a sort of top order batter, find a way to make an impact slightly lower down the order. So yeah, I think it's a great format.
Yeah, Harry, England are resting a few, and Jacob Bethel obviously hit the headlines because he's going to captain the youngest ever captain of the England side. But you look at this England side, even though they have rested a few, Sol got a brilliant 100 in that 300. You've got the likes of Adil Rashid, who is still one of the world's best spin bowlers, and probably for me the best English white ball player that's ever been produced is Josh Butler's coming to Ireland. Even though England are resting a few, they're still going to be very, very strong.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's the thing for me that's incredibly exciting. You want to play against the best players in the world, and sort of test where your game's at and try and perform at that level. I think that's what motivates me to practice and train, because you want to play well as a team and personally, and that's why I practice, to get out of bed in the morning and try and get better, because you want to be able to perform against these guys. And yeah, it's very exciting. And I've played against a few of them before. I made my ODI debut against England in the bubble in Southampton like 5 years ago, and I thought it was brilliant. And that was just after they won the World Cup in 2019, so it was very exciting. And yeah, I feel like anytime we come up against England, like I said, even though they're resting a few players, they're still going to be very strong. And some of the, like you said, some of the best white ball players in the world are going to be in their 11. So it's going to be a great barometer for us, and see where we're at, and sort of try and learn and grow and improve towards the T20 World Cup.
Harry, some of our listeners and viewers might not know this. This won't come as news to listeners and viewers in Ireland, but some might not know that the Tector is a cricketing dynasty. I mean, it is extraordinary. Your brother Tim made his debut for Ireland this year, didn't he? Younger brother.
Yeah.
Your sister Alice made her Ireland debut, I think, last year. Your brother Jack plays first class cricket, and I think your partner, Gabby, your partner. Are you? Well, I hope you're still together.
Yeah, still together, still together.
Gabby Lewis also played for Ireland. Is there any escape? I mean, do you live and breathe
I
cricket?
don't know. I don't know what's gone wrong, really, but no, yeah, no. Gabby's actually over playing for Lancashire at the minute, and in their one day competition. So, yeah, to be honest, I actually don't know. We were My dad wasn't a cricketer of any particular note. He played club cricket in Ireland and loved it, but never sort of pushed us down that route. And we sort of got into it through primary school and loved it. And yeah, we all sort of just played in the back garden together. And my eldest brother Jack was probably as close as he could have been to an Irish cap without getting one at one stage. He's probably not pursuing his cap anymore, but yeah, it certainly takes up a large part of my life, but I certainly wouldn't have it any other way. You know, myself and Gabby, we've been together a long time, and we sort of know how to disconnect, which is really important from the cricket. And then obviously Tim making his debut this winter was a real highlight of my career, was to be able to be there and present his cap, and that was out in Zimbabwe. And my brother Jack was actually out there because we were going to PJ Moore's wedding, who was getting married a few weeks later. So the fact that it all came together very quickly was amazing. And then Alice, you know, she's so young. She made her debut at 16, but herself and Gabby are very close. So, you know, it's nice that even when she's in that environment that, you know, she is someone, you know, looking out for her like Gabby. She's obviously captain as well now. So it's a really nice environment, and we're very lucky to have the support around us that we do. But yeah, need to make sure that I disconnect.
A brilliant story. And talking about brilliant stories, if you fast forward to when the end of these three games come and everything, England's been and gone and been for the first time in a while to Ireland, what will it mean to sort of the kickstart of Irish cricket? Where do you hope that this takes it? Because it seems as though, I think with the news that they're trying to build a new stadium, that cricket is on the up in Ireland, and the government is now on board to try and take Irish cricket to the next level.
Yeah, that stadium news is very exciting. And I think that World Cup in 2031, is it, or 2030, is going to be huge for the growth of the game in this country. And hopefully I'm still involved to be there, because I think that will be amazing. To see a World Cup come to Ireland would be just an incredible thing when I think about where the game was when I was a kid growing up. So yeah, that would be amazing. I think the investment off the pitch is very, very important. So to have the government rowing in behind that is very exciting. And I think we as players just are hoping that, you know, we get the opportunity to showcase our talent and play against high quality opposition as much as possible, and improve, so that when that World Cup comes, you know, we can do something really special in it. And I think that's probably how the game will grow as much as possible, because, you know, World Cups are ultimately where cricket catches the headlines in Ireland. You know, it's not in the news day to day like it would be in England. So I think when we get those opportunities on the world stage, particularly with it being in Ireland, you know, you can really galvanise cricket and give it the shot in the arm to the broader public that don't follow cricket day to day. So yeah, it would be really exciting, and hopefully that stadium, you know, will be a place where people can go and watch high level cricket for a long period of time.
Just finally from me, Harry, talking about growing the game. I look at the Ireland squad, and I mean, you've got one of the most established squads, I think, in world cricket, you know, with Sterlo, Paul Sterling still there, and Curtis Camphor, George Dockrell's been around forever, even though he's still a young man. Are you happy with the succession planning? I mean, I mean, I mentioned one new name, but are there new youngsters coming through?
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think the big goal for us probably at the minute is that 2027 World Cup. The 50 over one is a real focus for the squad, because we've missed out on the last few. So that's, even though this T20 World Cup will take our priority now in the next 6 months, I think that's a big focus for the group. But yeah, I think you always, in Ireland, you're always sort of worried about, oh, what would happen if, and so get injured. And you're sort of seeing it now with Mark Adair and Josh Little being out injured. You find out what you have below the current crop, and I think that's important. And I do think the future planning is happening behind the scenes, and I think that's important. And it's sort of up to the management and Sturlo as captain how they want to introduce guys and drip feed them in, because there is a serious gulf in terms of our domestic cricket, and then the jump to international cricket so big. So you don't want to throw someone in who's not ready, because that can sometimes do more harm than good. So trying to find the right balance is really important, and I do think people are thinking about that. And yeah, I think when the time comes, the squad will be ready. But a bit like myself, when I was first picked, you're probably not fully ready to be playing international cricket in Ireland, but just because you don't have the basis that a cricketer in a similar position in the UK would have. So you either sink or swim very fast. If you're a good player and you've the right mentality and talent, you can improve really fast if you're exposed to it. But conversely, if you're not, you can fail quickly. So it's about managing that in the right way.
And finally, very, very best of luck. What's the weather forecast?
I'm worried. I was so worried. I hope it's looking okay. I feel like this back end of September can always be a bit dicey. But hopefully we'll be okay. Wednesday's looking okay, and Friday, and then Sunday I don't worry about. That's too far in advance. I'm on a golf trip Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday the following week, so I'm hoping it's blue skies for those few days to be on.
Get your priorities right.
Yeah. But no, hopefully, fingers crossed. September is always a bit dicey, but with a bit of luck, we'll be okay.
Very, very best of luck. We'll be watching closely.
Awesome, guys. Thank you very much.
Right, it's time to talk finals day, reflecting on a record equaling third triumph for Somerset, in which Will Smeed was instrumental with a brilliant 94 from 58 balls in the final. Congratulations, Will. It's always a great occasion, isn't it? But even better if you win it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think it's probably the day in the calendar that at the start of the season every cricketer looks to be a part of, and fortunately enough we've been there for the last few days. But yeah, it was an awesome day, awesome evening, and yeah, I'm sure we'll look back on it with fond memories for a long time to come.
Will, take us to the final. I mean, you got through the semi-final, but there was a challenge in total that you were up against.
Yeah, for sure. I think at the halfway stage, we knew if we played well, we could get there or thereabouts. It was a really good wicket. I think the dew sort of came down, and it felt like the ball came on a bit better than it did earlier on in the day. But yeah, I think we knew if we batted well and one of the top order took it deep, we'd be there or thereabouts. And with the power we have coming in down the order, I think we always knew that if we kept the rate sort of around 10 to 12, we back ourselves to catch up from there.
Well, it's the longest day in cricket. I'm sort of, I think I'm semi-obsessed with what the team do who win the first semi-final for those 4 or 5 hours. I mean, what time does the day start? The nervous energy. How do you control that? Waiting for the second semi-final and knowing you're in the final.
Well, so last year we just stayed at the ground between games, and we found that sort of cooked us all a bit. It didn't feel like a proper switch off.
Yeah.
So this year we all went back to the hotel. Some lads just sat and had a coffee. I played cards with a lot of the boys. Just tried to switch off from the game, and yeah, that time went pretty quickly, to be honest. We probably only had an hour and a half or 2 hours back at the hotel, but it definitely felt better this year. And then going back to the ground, arriving again, it felt like you could sort of go back into getting ready for a game as you always do.
You had some, big characters stand up in throughout the tournament. I want to take, talked about the sort of the final itself. You mentioned, holding your nerve and talking about sort of 12, 10, between 10 and 12 and over. And if you could keep your nerve, that would be enough to get you over the line. I want to go back to the sort of quarterfinal, and I want to go back to the last 7 balls, because watching on TV, I wrote you off. I was thinking,
Yeah.
Sean Dixon doesn't get on strike for the last over, you're not winning, because I didn't back Craig to get 19 off the last over. But what was that like?
It was incredible. I think pretty much everyone that watched it said it's the best innings they've seen live. I guess, yeah, the emotions there were just ridiculous. To go from feeling pretty far behind the game to Sean doing that, which, to be honest, he's done that quite a few times for us. He's dragged us over the line from a seemingly impossible position. But yeah, it was ridiculous. I think it's one of those where that was his night, and yeah, I mean, there aren't many words to describe that knock. I don't think it will be forgotten. I think it was that special that people will remember that for a long time as sort of potentially the pivotal moment in the campaign for us.
What about the format this year and the changes for next year? There was obviously a lot of talk about finals day taking place about 2 months after the final group games, um, and teams being without their internationals, the England players. I'm not dragging you down the road of controversy here, but it was probably less than ideal, such a long break before quarterfinals and finals day. Are you aware of the changes for next season, and do you think that the finals day being in July will be an improvement?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's tricky as it is or was this year, because you completely lose any momentum you've built up through the group stages, which I guess if you finish the groups poorly could work in your favor. But if you've gone on a bit of a heater, it's hard to stop for a month and then come back on and try and continue where you left off. But yeah, I think it will be a nice change for next year, going back to it all being done before the 100, and hopefully means it'll be a bit warmer as well come the end of the night.
Well, you cross over. You play the 100 as well as the Blast, and we see the emergence of the 100, where the best play the best over the course of a month. And whether there's controversy of that of losing August, that's for a different argument. But I'd love to know about a player that's played in both the Blast and played in the 100, because the 100 and the Blast seem to be two completely different tournaments, where this year I think there's been a lot of brilliance. I mean, individual brilliance in the 100,
Yeah.
but not many good games, not many close games. But if you look at the Blast, there's been some brilliant games of cricket. All 4 quarterfinals were very, very good.
Yeah.
And then the finals day was exceptional, where the 100 finals day, I mean, it didn't live up to the building. Do you think there's an ongoing problem, or do you think there's an issue where you think the 100 just needs time to sort of get better?
I'm not really sure. I think a lot of it might come down to, with 20 over cricket, people have played it a lot, so they know what they're doing. They know how games tend to go, whereas the 100 still feel pretty new. It's quite a difficult format to get to grips with. On, like, no one knows what a good score is still, or chasing, it's hard to know where you want to position yourself. And yeah, I don't know why it's sort of panned out like it has, but yeah, I mean, like you said, the Blast this year particularly, it felt like all quarterfinals were really good games. And finals day, it was the same thing. All the teams felt really close, really evenly matched, and yeah, I'm not too sure why that is, to be honest.
Is it, as an opening batter, do you have a different a different game mentality, a different mindset? Do you think differently when you're going out in the 100 compared to when you're going out in the Blast? Because it may be different for a middle order batter,
Yeah,
like you say, setting up total, but it seems, is it still the same amount of freedom as an opener?
it's different. I'd say it feels different. I think you feel 6 overs feels a lot longer than 25 balls, just from like the power play point of view. I think a lot of especially the way we've looked to set up innings at Somerset this year, a lot of the time we'll be not catching up, but going really hard, sort of over 5 and 6 in the power play. And obviously you don't get that in the 100, so you kind of need to be more on it from ball one. And like you said, you're facing some pretty pretty good bowlers with a brand new ball in the 100, so it's not easy to start really well all the time. But yeah, it just feels like there's kind of that added pressure from a top order perspective to try and get off to a flyer, whereas yeah, 20 overs feels a lot longer.
Well, I'm infamous for asking two questions in one, because I'm always worried about forgetting to ask one. So where is Somerset County Cricket Club? Is it healthy? It's not one of the test venues and not 100 host. So how's that going? How's Somerset doing? And also, I know you're probably sick and tired of talking about this, but can you give us a recap on where you are with multi-formats now and red ball cricket?
Yeah, for sure. So I think to start with, Somerset seems in a great place. I think there's a really good core of senior players there and a lot of exciting youngsters coming through. So I think, yeah, the future looks bright for Somerset. And yeah, so on the multi-format thing, yeah, just keen to play as much as I can. I think I've really enjoyed coming back to red ball cricket this year and being around the lads more, playing more cricket, spending more time in the middle. I think it's been really beneficial, and I just feel in a great place to enjoy my cricket at the moment and be wanting to play as much as possible, which I think that's the position I want to find myself in as much as I can going forwards.
Do you feel as though that's helped you over the course of this last 12 months, that going back to red ball cricket, hitting more balls, being around a group more? Do you think that's helped Will Smeed become the cricketer you've sort of gone on that sort of back up to that forward trajectory over the last 12 months?
Yeah, definitely. I think just there's no substitute for time in the middle facing bowlers. I think that's something I've really noticed this year. You can train all you want, hit as many balls as you want in training, but it's just not the same as batting in matches. And I think that's been the big thing for me, is just, yeah, facing more balls. I've been desperate to score runs whenever I've played, even if it's sort of second team red ball cricket. I've been wanting to do well and trying to hit a lot of balls. And I think, yeah, that's just transferred into all games, just feeling more comfortable at the crease, just in a better place with my game in general.
Might have been a bit trickier in the semi-final if Lancashire had Salt and Butler opening.
Yeah.
Did you watch them against South Africa?
Off whatever they did the day before. Might have been tricky.
Did you watch that? Did you watch them against South Africa?
No, I was out for dinner, but I watched the highlights after, and I mean, yeah, 300 in a T20 is just ridiculous.
So you did watch it because it was just it was just a highlights package, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
That's the level, though, isn't it? I mean, that you said you've gone back into red ball multi-format cricket. You've had a good season. Is that the level that you aspire to? Do you think, right, I want to get, and I don't know where your calendar is over the course of the next 12 months, but do you feel as though watching these guys on the TV, the pitches that they play on, and international cricket, another couple of good years, and that could be me?
I mean, I think international cricket's what everyone aspires to play in. I think the 100 is actually a great opportunity to be around the international players, and I think that's when you really see the difference, I guess, that there is a difference between good domestic players and the international guns. So I think, yeah, that's what everyone aspires to do. I think for me, I just try and focus on the cricket I'm playing in at whatever time that is, and trying to perform and do well in that. And wherever that takes me, I think I'll be pretty comfortable if I've put in the effort to do well. Then whatever happens, happens.
Quick word about Sean Dixon, made runs in the final, and he's packing his bags at the end of the season. And also, how about that 18 off 5 from Lewis Gregory?
Yeah, I mean, Sean's been incredible for us over the last 3 years, I think it is. Like I said earlier, he's won us so many games that probably has gone unnoticed. Yeah, he's a great guy to have around the group, and he's a great guy to have on the pitch. So we're not looking forward to playing against him next year, because I'm sure he's going to save some runs for us. But yeah, it's been great playing with him, and Lewis, same thing. He's done that time and time again. When I got out, obviously it would have been nice to get us over the line, but I had complete faith in the guys coming in that they'd do the job. And yeah, it was probably a fitting way to finish with Sean and Lewis out in the middle.
And what's to come? What have you got on the horizon? Where's Will Smeed going to be playing his cricket before April next year when you have to come back to the freezing cold of Somerset? Have you got many away trips over the course of the next 6 months?
Well, there's still a county champ game next week, so I'll see if I get the call up for that. But nah, I'm going out to Canada in October to play. There's a little T10 comp, or not little, but there's a T10 comp over there. So I'll be out there and then do a little holiday at the end of that. And then the SA20 auction was last week, and I got picked up in that. So
Good man.
that's my winter as it stands. And yeah, I can't wait to get back out to South Africa because yeah, it's an incredible country. I love my time there last year, so I was buzzing when I got picked back up to go out there.
Okay, just a little bit of county news. Hampshire seems to be making a lot of news at the moment. Head coach A.D. Birrell will be leaving after 7 years in charge. He wants to return to his farm in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, spend a bit more time with his family. There was speculation that the GMR, the holding company of Delhi Capitals, taking over Hampshire, they might want their own to appoint their own coach. I don't think that's the case at all. I really do just think that A.D. Birrell has had a great run at Hampshire and wants to go into semi-retirement. They've signed Washington Sundar for the last 2 rounds of the county championship. And also, Harmy, they've been docked 8 points for a poor pitch in the game against Sussex at the Utilita Bowl in May. Why does it take 4 months to come up with an 8-point penalty? How's that happen?
We're talking about ECB, aren't we? So, I mean, it could have been last May. It might not have been this May. It could have been last May. You just never know. Do you? Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for that because Durham are now back in the hunt. Durham have got, I know the weather's not very good in the northeast this week, but Durham need to beat Worcester. It's in Durham's hands. They play Worcester, then they play Yorkshire away. 2 teams who are down at the bottom. Hampshire, it's an interesting one that they've signed Washington Sundar, and I mean, not to play Surrey this week, and there's a couple of points between them. If that gets washed out and that's a draw, Surrey have got to go to Hampshire, and I don't think they're going to be playing on a green seamer with Washington Sundar just being signed. So, in the last time they did that, they played on a surface like that. Hampshire hammered them. So Hampshire hammered Surrey. So, I mean, Surrey need to get the job done this week at the Oval. And I said on the County Cricketer podcast, I mean, Josh Tongue going to the Oval for Notts, he could be the difference in winning Notts the championship. So I think the county championship with 2 games to go is a long way to go. But the Sundar, he could be deciding the championship, and he also might need to sort of, on a serious note, for Hampshire, they might need to win to stay up, because if Durham go and beat Worcester this week, which we'd expect, then all of a sudden Hampshire will be second bottom, and then it would come down to Hampshire playing Surrey last game of the season, probably on a pitch which might get docked 8 points again. But they might get docked 8 points next June, if you know what I mean. But look, we'll wait and see. The Eddie Birrell one, yeah, he's done a brilliant job for Hampshire. He really has. Along with James Vince for 6 out of the 7 years. Hampshire have been going along nicely. They produced some good fast bowlers, even though they haven't been picking them, but they produced them, and they're now hopefully going to bear fruition from an England pathway point of view, and then good luck to them in the future.
And the South African hierarchy at Leicestershire, Director of Cricket Claude Henderson and Coach Alfie Thomas have signed Keshav Maharaj, the 36-year-old multi-format player, for 4 months, for the first 4 months of next season. Very, very astute signing.
What a signing that is, by the way. I mean, how that's getting past everybody else. You know, I'm not nothing against Leicester. They've done brilliantly, and we loved Alfie when he came on, and I'm good mates with Claude. Bigger counties mustn't have realised that Maharaj was available, because I'll tell you what, if he's available for 4 months, he's the best white ball bowler in the world at this moment in time. He's very, very good test bowler. If you get him across two of the 3 formats in that 4 months, I mean, that's one hell of a signing. That's a good signing for Leicester when they go into the First Division next season. And they've signed some good players, some not journeymen. They've signed some good players. Young Davies, Josh Davies, a good player. They've signed a couple of players that they've had on loan. I think Leicester will be ready for that First Division when it comes around in April next year.
Okay, on to the final word, Harmy. We're running out of time. We might have to come back to the tribes. I don't know what you do know about the Tribe brothers. Asa Tribe, the 21-year-old Glamorgan and Jersey batter, it's just been in ridiculous form. He's just been signed by the Pile Royals in the SA20, but his last five knocks, 206 for Glamorgan, 122 not out against Worcester, 131 not out against Leicester, 175 against Papua New Guinea, 53 not out against Qatar, 206 against Northants. It's just absolutely staggering. He's 21 years old from Jersey. His brother Zach is 3 years older. He averages 74.6 in ODIs. He's only played 10 of them. But extraordinary. And Asa Tribe gave a very good interview to Melinda Farrell in the Cricketer magazine, in which he said he wanted to play for England.
No, good on him. Really good on him. And it just shows, I think it shows that what Richard Dawson's doing down at Glamorgan, because how many times did we talked on this show, man, in the last sort of 3 or 4 years about Glamorgan, young Carlson and one or two others getting off to good starts and then just petering off and just faltering in mid-season towards the end of the season. Richard Dawson's a very, very accomplished coach, a very good coach, and I think he's shown there that Glamorgan look as though they potentially could get promoted. They're at the top, the second in the league, and Asa Tribe has done brilliantly for them. He really has, and he wants like the Scott Curry playing international cricket, even at the next level down, is not only getting you ready, but it's raising your standards. And his standards have been raised to a point where you talk about the numbers that he's got. He's had a very, very, very good season. So good luck to him.
Okay, a couple of other items on final word. You and I both know which final word we want to finish with, but we're not quite there yet. Just very quickly on New Zealand cricket, going back to an interview we did 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, with Alex Stewart, in which he said players need to think about going freelance. Like whose facilities are they going to use? Whose medical insurance do they want to be on? Whose nets do they want to use? Whose physios do they want to use? If they're only going to play county cricket for the Blast, or for one format, and they want to go and play franchise cricket, how are we going to come up? How are we going to do this arrangement? New Zealand cricket have now agreed to 5 players being on what they call casual playing contracts, in which case, yep, you can come and use the nets, you can use the bowling machine, you can use the physio and the medical. You've got to commit to a certain number of games for us. But if you want to play in the World Cup, then this is what we require. Basically, they're saying 5 players have said no to a full national contract. That's basically what they're saying. And unapologetically, it's a remarkable situation. They say, okay, we can't pay you what you can earn in franchise cricket, but let's come up with a relationship that works.
Yeah, and New Zealand cricket have been great for that for the last however many years. I mean, it is a difficult one. I don't think they can do that with a 21-year-old, but I think they can do it with the likes of Devin Conway, Ken Williamson,
Lockie Ferguson.
Yes, I think you can do it with somebody like Lockie Ferguson, who I think injury record, his stock in franchise cricket's huge. The Finn Allen one's an interesting one because, yes, there's money to be made around the world, a little bit like the Sam Curran conversation that Brendan McCullum possibly had. For me, that would be, if you want to play international cricket, you play it on our terms, and we'll let you go as much as we possibly can. But I don't think you've earned the right to dictate terms like what Devin Conway has or Kane Williamson has, give back to their national team. I always come back to the same argument when the IPL was really at its sort of best when it first came around, and the likes of Ibby de Villiers and Chris Gill retired from international cricket. They played 100 Test matches. They deserve the right to retire from international cricket. I think it's a win-win for everybody, as long as they commit to playing so many games and be available when the franchise stuff's not there, and then playing the major tournaments. Countries the size of New Zealand I think, unfortunately, that's how they keep skin in the game with their big players.
You've been listening to Following On with me, Neil Manthorp, along with former England fast bowler Steve Harmison. We'll be back at the same time next week to look back at England's T20 series against Ireland, review the One Day Cup final, and look ahead to the final round of the County Championship. But for now, this has been another edition of Following On.